Hi guys, welcome to Mega Maniacs. I hope everyone is having a great evening. And I just want to welcome everyone to the podcast tonight. I'm trying to keep an eye on the comments section here without trying to get too distracted. But every time I comment, it's posting twice. So, hi, Victor. So I'll probably just try to say hi instead of typing it in, so I don't have to keep deleting the extra comment. So um, if many of you have seen the video that I posted earlier about what tonight's podcast is going to be on, you saw a short clip of the gentleman's name is Chad, and you would have seen. Uh, oh, um, looks like you have two lives at once. Oh, am I on here twice? Can someone tell me if I'm on here twice? Someone, it looks like. Uh, oh, thank you, everyone. Yeah, I'm a redhead for now. But it looks like Chelv is saying that there's two lives at once. So, um, oh, the vertical feed. Okay, let me see if I can turn it off. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe there's a glitch with the okay, it's saying I am on here twice. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sorry that is happening, but I'm not going to get too distracted by that because um, tonight's episode is a very important one. And so hopefully, like I said, there's only one of me up here, and I'll have to figure out behind the scenes with StreamYard if I'm in fact having some issues or if I'm not. But I do know that every time I typed a comment into the chat, it was popping up twice. So there is a chance that this is up here twice. So anyways, I'm getting off track here. So I posted a video earlier, and it's a clip of a gentleman named Chad. He has been a part of World Harvest Church for over 30 years, and he posted something about 5 days ago. Sorry, I'm going to turn my phone off because it keeps beeping here. So I he posted this video about 5 days ago, and I pulled some clips from there when I posted the video earlier. Tonight, I'm going to show the entirety of what he said, and we're going to kind of dissect it. But we're also going to play a clip right before that from this past Sunday. And this clip, you actually, as of right now, cannot find online. When you go to World Harvest Church or Rod Parsley, they have the message only part of the sermon that was preached on Sunday by Rod, but they don't have the full message on there that has the music and the asking for money and all of that. So it's the message only. So luckily, someone pulled this clip for me when it was live. Otherwise, I would not have had it. So I'm going to play a few things. I've got some charts to show. I've got some spreadsheets to show. So there is a lot that we have to do. So some people are still saying there's two separate live streams. I'm sorry if that's happening. So to start, I want to start with talking about Chad specifically. So he, like I said, was a member of World Harvest, or maybe I guess you can decide when you see the video. for 30 years. He was also a student at Valor, and he has been sleeping in his car. He was completely exhausted, and as he's been staying in his car, I guess in the mornings, he would go into Valor early, brush his teeth, get cleaned up before he would go to class. Well, one night last week, I'm assuming, so uh, one night last week, he decided to go into the lounge. He fell, or he was kind of putting his feet up. He fell asleep, and then subsequently, he has been banned from the property. And again, I'm going to let him tell it in his own words. So he nods off on a couch because his ankles are swollen from sleeping in his car. And instead of compassion, they handed him a ban notice. And that's not ministry, that's moral bankruptcy. So I'm going to first play a clip from the sermon, if we want to call it that, that was preached on Sunday. And again, this is a clip that you currently will not find online. I don't know if it's going to be uploaded later, but I'm going to play that first. I'm going to dissect that a bit, and then I'm going to play the entirety of Chad's message that he posted, and then we're going to kind of dive into that. So I am going to pull this up now.
Envelopes in those seat back pockets in front of you. There's information on the screen. The tithe is 10% of the sanctified gross income, and an offering is anything above a tithe. Right now, we would love for you to help us. We are sending 150,000 meals into the Horn of Africa. Again, just finished one 2 or 3 months ago. We're sending another 150,000 meals right now to the hungriest, most deprived area of the world. So help us. $48 will feed a family for an entire month. An entire month. $48. Most of you'll spend that on lunch. And then you already had breakfast, and you're going to have dinner, and you're going to have snack time in between. Give something for those for whom nothing is provided. Father, bless these wonderful people. They're so willing to hear and respond to your word. Help us meet the needs of others, and give us a soul with every dollar. For Christ's sake, amen.
So you can tell that Rod made that up because the Bible never once defines tithing that way. Not in Genesis, not in Leviticus, not in Malachi, not in Matthew, not in Acts, or anywhere else. Gross income isn't even a biblical term, it's a tax term. Sanctified income, also not a thing. In scripture, what's sanctified is people, not paychecks. The tithe, which the Hebrew word is ma'aser, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, was a tenth of agricultural produce, grain, wine, livestock under the old covenant, which is in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. It was part of Israel's national system of supporting the Levites and the poor, not a church fundraising quota. Even Jesus, when referencing tithing in Matthew 23:23, was talking to Pharisees that were still under that law, not instructing Christians how to calculate their paycheck deductions. And Paul, when teaching about giving in the New Testament, says nothing about a percentage. He says to give as each has decided in their heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. And that's in 2 Corinthians 9:7. So when Rod says 10% of your gross sanctified income belongs to God, the only thing sanctified is his creativity. And I think that we've talked about this before on the podcast, and people have varying opinions of it. But the the New Testament is very clear about what a tithe and what a tithe is, and it is just giving because you want to give. The Lord has given and blessed you, so you should want to give. And again, in the Old Testament, these were for the Levites. So now I'm going to play this clip that Chad posted. And this clip, I think it's about 11 and a half minutes long. And I'm going to let it play because there are several things that we're kind of going to pull out of here, not just his experience, but the psychology behind defending your abusers or people that have mistreated you. And we're going to show some additional spreadsheets and information and some letters that have been going out. So there's a lot of media tonight. So I am going to now play this video, and we will come back and discuss it after that.
What's up, Facebook? Y'all know how I do. I don't beat around the bush. I just get right to the point. This video, I'm going to try not to get emotional. I've cried until my tear ducts, I think, are out of tears. This video is from my World Harvest Church family. As many of you may have already heard this news. I know news travels fast, but I just wanted you to hear it, as the old folks used to say, right from the horse's mouth. Just to make a long story short, as you all know, I've got onto social media and I've asked for help, just moving forward, trying to do what God called me to do. Like every preacher I've ever been around my whole life, at some point gets up and asks for help financially. That's all I've ever done. Ask for help financially to do what God's calling me to do. And as most of you know, I've had kind of struggled from time to time with having a roof over my head and having the resources to provide myself a roof over my head up until about a couple of weeks ago, when I had to go to Tennessee and handle this legal deal with my uncle that everybody knows about at this point. I was going pretty good. Everything was going smooth. I'd had a place I was staying at, and then when I got back from Tennessee, everything just kind of shifted, and where I was staying didn't work out anymore. So I was staying in my little car here, which is another story about this little car I'm driving. I won't get into that right now, but so I had set my car for a couple days, but I was just getting up out of my car right there at the Bible college, where I was going to Bible college, go in the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, and go on to class. So a couple days ago, after doing that for a few days, my ankles were swelled, my legs were swelled. There's a nice lounge at the Bible college there. I said, well, let me go in here, and all the students will go in there and eat and play the pool tables and stuff that's in there for recreation, but there's a lot of nice little leather couches, sitting around. So let me go in here and eat my Taco Bell, put my feet up so this swelling will go down in my ankles, because I hadn't had my feet elevated in a few days sitting in this car all night long. So I went in there, laid my head back, and I'm so sleep deprived, I went to sleep and slept all night long. So the next morning comes around, I didn't even mean to sleep all night. I was just sleep deprived. So I had a conversation with him, like, man, I was so sleep deprived. I fell asleep on those couches in the lounge, and everybody knows my situation. Most everybody I shared that with was like, hey man, just what's the big deal? Just ain't nobody in there. If you want to go in there and take a nap, go take a nap. Nobody, big deal, big whoop. So that's what I did. I guess there was somebody who it was, I don't know, come through there and saw me sleeping, felt afraid for whatever reason, and reported it to the higher ups. I'll not name any names. And they called me in for a meeting, said because I fell asleep on the couch in the lounge, that's evidently some major security breach, that I'm now a threat to the Bible college and the whole entire ministry, and I've been banished. Now, if any of that makes any sense to any of you, more power to you. But there's lots of people that I dearly love at World Harvest Church, and that dearly love me, and that I've known for many, many years, and including Pastor Rod Parsley and Miss Joni, Miss Jeannie, I just hugged all of y'all's neck. We had prayer together on Monday night before all this happened. I hugged everybody's neck from Pastor Parsley on down. I'm sure sometimes these things happen and he don't even know about it. I don't know if he knows about what's happened to me. If he does, I'll never slander his name. I'll never slander the World Harvest Ministry, the name, because I know that I have been changed, transformed for eternity by the power of God through that ministry. There's no doubt in my mind about it. So to all of you that I did not get it, I'm not allowed to come to church. I'm not allowed to be on the property, anything involved with that ministry. So they said I could finish my school online. I just feel like I've been too disrespected, and that's too dysfunctional and too awkward, that I can't even step foot on the ministry property, but you want me to finish my degree online. No, I'm going to shake the dust off of my feet and go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. You need to be where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. I know that for a fact. So to all of those, all of my World Harvest Church family, you know who you are. All the church mothers that I love so dearly, Miss Barb, all of you, you know who you are. Miss Mother Jolly, Mother Frances Jolly, you mean so much to me. I don't know if you'll see this or not. If somebody sees that, please let Mother Jolly know that Chad, her son, her spiritual grandson, loves her very much. And Sister Early, and like I said, Miss Barb, Lord, that I've known since way back when her son David was a part of the ministry. Just love just so dearly. From the depths of my soul, I love you guys. Bob Elliott, I love you more than life itself, sir. I'll always love you. You're my dear spiritual father from now into eternity. The wisdom, the comfort, the encouragement, the friendship that you've given me over these years is absolutely priceless. I love you forever. And like I said, Miss Joni, Miss Jeannie, Pastor Parsley, I love you forever. You'll never hear me put my mouth on you or your ministry. Never. I don't understand what's happened. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's uncalled for. My little daughter, Mariah, loves to come to World Harvest with me. She's not going to understand why I can't go there anymore. So remember her in prayer. But that's it. I love you all. My World Harvest family. It's been my family for the last 30 years of my life. That's most of my life. Since I was 13 years old, really. And I'm about to be 44. I always felt like I was supposed to finish what I started, but God just has other plans. Doesn't always you don't always get to the destination that you're heading toward in the way that you thought you were going to. That's where I'm at. So y'all pray for me. My natural family has abandoned me. My church family has abandoned me. Well, I know it's not the church family, but the leadership of somewhere in there has abandoned me. And I know there's many in the church family there that will always love me and appreciate me. So you have that in return from me, love and appreciation for all the years of being a part of that great ministry. So peace out. I love y'all. Until we meet each other again in glory. Maybe I might cross paths with some of you while we're out and about in the community here. I'll always stop and hug your neck and tell you how much I love you. So God bless you. I love you all. Peace out.
It's actually kind of funny.
I find that to be absolutely heart-wrenching, that entire video. And I will tell you that Chad has spoken out uh, pretty boldly against Maniacs and what I'm doing with exposing, and I know that he obviously does not support what I do, but regardless of that, just from a humanity aspect, and those of us that have been a part of ministries and have trusted them and have given our all to them, and then to be discarded like trash, that just is absolutely heartbreaking to me, whether you like me, you agree with what I'm doing, you don't agree with what I'm doing. And the loyalty that he's still showing to them, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. And of course, this is just my opinion and the experiences that I've had, the research that I've done, and the psychology behind some of this. I mean, it's like Stockholm syndrome, right? You are defending and protecting your abusers and the people that have hurt you or shunned you. And that's exactly what's happening here from my point of view is that he's still protecting them because they trained him to equate loyalty with holiness. And it's not that he is blind, but that he was taught to close his eyes and to call it faith, to put all of his faith in Rod Parsley and his system. And it sounds like he does have a relationship with the Lord, and I think that that's wonderful. But these are still, even when you have that relationship, this is still not only a tragic and heartbreaking event, but it rocks your world when this happens. And that's how cults survive in sanctuaries, through emotional manipulation dressed as devotion. And this is the one of the number one tactics of World Harvest Church and the leadership there. And Chad, Rod Parsley does know what happened to you, and he does not care. And I hate to say it that way, but after everything that I've seen and heard with my own eyes and ears, and then all of the people that have been on the podcast, it's and everything that we've heard over the years, the only conclusion that I can come to is that you are only worth the amount of money that you are giving, and nobody cares about anything else. So did they pull Chad's giving record to see if he deserved help like they used to do when I worked there? I don't know. Did someone actually report him, or did just someone in leadership see him and use that as an excuse to banish him, as he said? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous that you would kick somebody not only out of the college, but out of the church, and you can't go because you fell asleep on a couch. For goodness sakes, maybe offer him not only some compassion, but what about some help? Why can World Harvest Church send 150,000 meals to Africa, which we're going to talk about, but they can't help Chad, who has been there for 30 years? Give me a break. So James 2:16 says, and I'm going to show some Bible verses, but I did not pull this one up. If one of you says, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," but does nothing for their physical needs, what good is that? And I could not agree more. Now, I mean, we want to help everybody. Sometimes we can't help everybody, but at the end of the day, if someone is telling you, "I am hungry, I am living in my car, I am still trying to make it to church and make it to classes, and I'm trying my best to do all of these things," and they get banned, okay? And I saw on Facebook with my own eyes some of these people that he's mentioning in this video. They're saying, "Oh, brother, we're praying for you, we're praying for you." Well, that's great, but Chad needs more than prayer. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of the episode. But we have to, there's a lot of people in need. There's people in the Mega Maniacs family that are in need. There are several people and families that have been or are still attached to World Harvest Church that are also in need. And uh, I want to help, and I hope everyone else wants to help too. So they'll throw you out of the church for resting your eyes, but not for robbing God's people blind. Okay, make it make sense, please. So if you all remember, a few months back, I interviewed Wayne Hasselou, and I'm going to play a clip from his interview because we saw the clip of Rod on Sunday just talking about sending these 150,000 meals. But do you ever wonder why they talk about the number of meals and not the amount of money that's raised? It's because it costs them next to nothing to send these, nutritional shakes over to these countries, and they end up pocketing the rest of the money, I'm sure. And again, my opinion, but I'm going to show plenty of backup to support what I'm saying. But I want to play this clip from Wayne when he's talking about specifically the money that is given for these campaigns that they do for overseas. So I'm going to play this now.
8 million. Again, it's smoke and mirrors. This missions world and fulfillment is, I'm not saying nobody's good. There are good people that are out there, but there is so much twisting of it. So, like, an example would be, we found back around 2006, there was starting to be a push about we were going to get 10 million meals out. It was way bigger than anything we ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that worked was we found a family, or somebody, World Harvest, not we, World Harvest, found a family that puts together food for people that's like super nutritious, but it's like super dense, and they just package it. But then they need people that'll send it around the world, but they provide the food. And so we had got hooked up through them, and we were going to use that, but it was like you could send one container of food, and it was this crazy number of meals you could claim were sent. Or they might send some old, in the missions world, they might send some old healthcare equipment, but they use the like gigantic overinflated number to say what its value is, to say this is what we're providing. Like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And so when you raise $750 million, the thing, if you look at every Bridge of Hope mailing, I did this. My responsibility was every time when you write something, if it's going to be like $45 will feed a family, you don't say that. You have to say $45 will help feed a family. If you're not telling people they're going to feed a family, they might just help feed one family. Because the other language that has to be in every letter is, and continue to keep our Bridge of Hope outreach strong around world television, strong around the world. So that includes all the airtime. That's the biggest expense of Bridge of Hope. And that would, I may or may not, depending on how accounting do it, cover part of pastor's salary. But small numbers are actually making it over to missions. And we've had times where they've tried to just use like a single guy to get it a load into Sudan, and he didn't even get it all the way there. It took months. He couldn't even get it. Finally got it in the country and was like, good enough. Like, it's just crazy.
And how did they even, because there was a time, and maybe it's still going on, but even like Sudan, for example, at civil war, how do you even get the food or supplies in and out of there effectively? And it certainly is not the amount that they're actually collecting, because they would have been able to help a lot more people than even what they're claiming, in my opinion, based on the amount of money that they've taken in.
There's no question. It's about perceived value. Like when we needed like matching challenges, to me it's just fake, in my opinion. Like they make it happen, I guess, in accounting. But if we wanted a matching challenge for a mail campaign or a phone campaign, it was literally saying, hey, we want to do a matching challenge, and accounting said, okay, you got one. And my understanding for a while was they were taking like, well, we'll take the high donor money and we'll match it against the other people's money. And I don't know how they end up doing it, but I know that it got to where we just make a phone call and real quick, boom, there was a matching challenge. Recently, we actually, I raised this flag to them. It was another one of the big, oh my goodness. Matching challenge says we will match up to the total of the matching challenge fund, $250,000. Well, the majority of campaigns, we well exceed those amounts. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, and I don't want to say the wrong thing.
You were talking about raising for a matching challenge, maybe $250,000.
Yeah, so it was a $250,000 matching challenge fund. We had already, World Harvest Church had already collected more than $250,000 on the matching challenge fund campaign. And they said, do another mailing with this matching challenge fund. And I raised that flag and said, guys, we've already got more than that. Went back to the exec marketing meeting room, Pastor and Jay and all the execs came back, mail it. Like anybody, we already were over the total. It was telling them we'd match their gifts, but the total was already met.
It was already met. And is there with VBS or in any of these meetings, are you guys looking at the actual amount that has been raised compared to the amount that has actually been sent?
The missions money is guarded like executive level salaries, if that tells you anything. Like it's very, very small groups that discuss that. I've been around a few, I've been in some, it's happened, but the real level of it, they keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you know if Rod taught? So I wanted to play that because obviously Wayne had some inside information when it comes to these giving challenges, and we're going to show some additional information. But World Harvest Church, they love to brag about sending, and Rod Parsley specifically, bragging about sending $150,000 or 150,000 meals to Africa. And it sounds noble until you start crunching the numbers. Those meals cost $7,500 to about $10,000. That's about 5 cents a meal. And I'm going to show some more information. So when they say we're feeding the nations, they mean we're feeding our brand. And it's amazing how far 5 cents can go when you're buying compassion at wholesale. So I pulled some information, and I'm going to show several charts. And I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully you guys can see this fairly well. Actually, that's not what I'm going to show something else first. Okay, so this is the WHC meal fundraising analysis. So just like we heard Rod say, and I can play the clip again if anybody needs it, but I played it at the beginning. Total meals claimed 150,000. Actual cost range to send those $150,000 meals is $7,500 to $10,000. So 5 to 7 cents per meal. Comparison of donation appeals and resulting percentages of funds actually spent on food. So if you look here, and I'm going to show some more information, but if they're collecting all of this money, why are they not sending the full amount or at least close to the full amount? That's why they have to say the number of meals, because if they said, we raised $250,000 or $500,000, then the expectation would be that they would send all of that. But if they claim the amount of meals, then obviously, if they were ever sued for not giving or falsifying information or not actually sending what they said they were going to send, then they could be in some trouble. So the interpretation of this is depending on the appeal, and that is the appeal for begging for money. The percentage of donations actually used for food ranges from 5%, and I even gave them 20%. Now, there is absolutely no information that would indicate that they've ever sent that much of the money. But they do these matching challenges. So the most common $1 for one meal framing, the organization may retain over 93% of the donations. These figures suggest that the 150,000 meals statement may serve more as a legal cover than a transparency of what they're actually doing. So now I'm going to share my screen for some additional information that is quite interesting. So first, we're going to look at something called mailer results. Now, hopefully you all can see this. I can make it a little bit bigger. This information is going to be from 2023, and we're even going to go down to 2022. So here, and I know it's probably small because I've even got to use my piece of paper to kind of make sure that I'm giving the right figure. So if you look at February 2023, it says, and all of the mailer results are here, not just what they're sending or what they claim they're sending to Africa, okay? But this is just from mailers. So the things that they send out, the snail mail. 2023, February, Horn of Africa Matching Challenge. Their average gift was $70. The revenue that they received off of that was $21,496. Their expense was $21,473. So they barely broke even when they just from the money that they brought in from the mailers. Now you go down to April 2023. Horn of Africa 15-day matching challenge. Average gift, $97. Revenue, $25,817. And the total expense was $8,577. May 2023, June, Horn of Africa, Urgent Gram. Average gift, $112. Revenue, $28,717. Total expense, $8,334. You go down to July 2023, Horn of Africa, food emergency. Average gift, $142. Revenue, $48,232. Total expense, $13,960. August, Horn of Africa deadline. Average gift, $87. Revenue, $21,312. Total expense, $9,913. So we're going to scroll down so we can see the rest of these. November 2023, Horn of Africa food and water. Average gift, $98. What they brought in, $24,376. The expense, $12,281. So about half of the expense there. December 2023, Horn of Africa matching food and water. Average gift, $107. What they brought in, $20,395. What they spent, $12,923. So if you see the 2023 total, just from mailers, from all of these mail campaigns that they do, they brought in $1,519,830. They spent $593,703. So we're going to scroll down. And you can see, I mean, obviously, what we're getting at here, and this is just from the mailers. I'm going to show some additional information. So there in January, they've got Sudan, $21,261 revenue. Their expense was $14,233. You go to February for Sudan. $9,778 was the revenue. The expense was $1,508. They took in some money for Ukraine. that looks like in March, $21,758, and their expense was $9,828. So again, you get the idea here. I don't need to go through each one of these, but I wanted to show because I think that it's noteworthy, clearly, and I have some additional. Paul said, "Wow, that print was small. Sorry about that. It's luckily I can read it." So now let me show you another spreadsheet. This is the donor file analysis, and we've got 2015 all the way to 2024 information. And this is broken down, as you can see there on the side. The people that have, I'm assuming that this is the people that have been giving for 3+ years is going to be the first column there. The one below that is 2 years. The one below that is regained or lapsed. Then the new donors, and then the total is at the bottom. So in 2015, they brought it for the people that were giving for 3+ years, $5,232,632. The average amount donated was $302.11. 2016 actually goes up a little bit to $5,367,237. And then you go across, and each year the money goes down, except for 2021, it went up about $900,000, and it's 2024 says 2,671,000. So it's gone from 5 million, and that's just for the people that have been giving for 3+ years. So you go down to the total. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I wanted to give everyone ample time to look at it. In 2015, the total $11,325,373. And again, this is tithe and offering money, okay? You go across the board, it was 11 million the next year, 9 million, 6.5 million, 5 million, 4.5 million, 5.5 million, 5.5 million, almost 5 million, and almost 4 million. And I know you guys are just loving these spreadsheets, but I have one more to show. And this information is going to be a little bit older, but I think that it paints a picture. And I believe we showed this during Wayne's interview as well. So 2019 actual numbers and the 2020 budget. This is what they brought in just in media income. Then tithes and offerings. So over 7 million in media. Tithes and offerings was almost 7 million. CHN brought in a little over 800,000. Tuition and fees for HPS, almost 3.8 million. Road income, 215,790. So that's what they're paying Rod, I guess, to come speak places. Rental income, so Valor has to make payments to World Harvest Church. That was over $1 million. But then you look at the amount of money that's actually going out. So they had over $20 million coming in, but almost the same amount of money going out. So the salaries, the benefits, the airtime. So that's the TV productions that has been losing money. As you can see, the costs are going up. They're losing money. but they continue to go on TV because that is how they do their fundraising. Other expenses over $1 million. I'd like to know what that is. Professional fees, 2,308,000. Travel and road over $1 million. And I can tell you, based on the invoices that I saw when I worked there, most of that is paying not only to take this private jet wherever Rod and co want to go, but then we've already seen that they are staying at the Four Seasons. They use ministry credit cards for this type of thing. This is where your money is going. So they don't have money to help people that are in need, that have been in their congregation for, I mean, Chad was there for 30 years, but regardless of the time, aren't we supposed to help people that are in need? And that was just the one campaign, the 150,000 meals. So who knows how much money they're bringing in for that, and we know how much there is actually going out. So they show World Harvest pulling in millions, and including for the Horn of Africa, but the cost to raise those millions is only a few $100,000. So you raise millions, you spend thousands to raise said $1 million, and pocket the rest under general ministry support. That's not generosity, that's sanctified skimming. And you know it's bad when their pie charts look more like Pac-Man eating your paycheck. The math doesn't math, but the message does. And what Rod is doing is despicable. It's a lie. And they are treating people like absolute garbage. So now, why Africa? Why do they manufacture these philanthropic things that they want to do, or missions work, or humanitarian events? And it's because it sells. People feel compelled to give to these sorts of things. Local poverty doesn't make for good promo reels. You can't guilt donors with a parking lot full of people that they have ignored. So I want to now look at Isaiah. So it's 58:7, but we're actually going to look at Isaiah 58:4 through Isaiah 58:11. So let me share my screen again here. So I'm going to start at 4 and go to 11. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife, and in striking each other with wicked fists. You cannot fast as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. Is this the kind of fast I have chosen? Only a day for people to humble themselves? It is only for bowing one's head like a reed, and for lying in sackcloth and ashes. Is that what you call a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. It is not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter. When you see the naked, to clothe them and not turn away from your own flesh and blood. Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call the Lord, and the Lord will answer, and you will cry for help, and he will say, Here I am. If you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, and if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose water never fails. And I think that it's not just the Isaiah 58:7. I think that it's the entirety of that, because when people are praying for breakthroughs, for miracles, sometimes God puts you in on their path because you happen to be the answer to their prayer in that moment, and you may not even know it. And that doesn't always have to be monetarily. That could be a smile, a prayer, a word of encouragement. It's not always about money, but when we see people that are struggling, and there's a lot of people right now that are in that boat, then how can we just turn a blind eye, especially if we know what that feels like? And Chad isn't a statistic. He's the human cost of a hollow gospel. A man who gave decades of loyalty only to be treated like a trespasser. They can send crates across oceans, but they cannot spare a couch for a child of their own house. He's still trying, and he, as in Chad, is still trying to understand why they'd rather raise money for strangers than lift up their own. The answers are simple. Proximity kills the illusion. If they helped him, we'd all see that they could help, and the expectation would be that they would. But as we've heard before, Rod Parsley, World Harvest Church, they are not quick to help anyone. I don't even know if they have a benevolence fund anymore, but I do know that when people ask for help, especially those that are congregation members, they're students, or they are staff and they work there, they have been turned away. And if you think the manipulation stops with the poor, think again. Rod Parsley's latest email proves that nobody is off limits, not even retirees. This new letter targets high dollar donors, urging them to give from their retirement IRAs, rental properties, even appreciated assets and donor advised funds. All, of course, in exchange for blessings, miracles, and favor. And let's go ahead and show this. So I'm going to make this bigger. So before prayer cloth, this is the latest grift email, and this went to people that would be considered high donors, because they do have marketing messaging for each level of donor. And so someone that is not considered a high donor would not receive this email. So it starts out as a breakthrough partner, you're sowing into lives that are being transformed by the power of Jesus. Take Ronnie, for example, strung out on crack cocaine, hopeless, and heading for destruction. He happened to hear me preaching on TV at his mother's house. The word pierced through his darkness. And Rod's talking about himself, of course. That night, Ronnie was pulled over and arrested, his third offense, facing 15 years behind bars. He was out on bail the following Sunday when he cried out to God. In a moment of grace, he was delivered from addiction and miraculously avoided prison time. And I don't believe that for 1 second. Today, Ronnie owns the most successful car wash in his town. Glory to God. That's the kind of harvest your generosity is producing. I believe God wants to do even more through us. So before 2025 ends, I want to make sure you're aware of some powerful ways you can maximize your impact for the gospel. Gifts from your IRA. If you're 70 and a half or older, you can give up to $108,000 directly from your traditional IRA to this ministry without adding a penny to your taxable income. For those 73 or older, these gifts may also count towards your required minimum deduction. Please check with your financial advisor to confirm. You could donate appreciated assets like stocks, bonds, or even real estate like vacant land, rental properties, or an unused vacation condo can be given directly to the ministry. This often allows you to avoid capital gains taxes and still receive a charitable deduction while putting more into the work of winning souls. Donor advised funds. If you've already contributed to a DAF, this is the perfect time to recommend a grant and put those resources to work for the kingdom. Many people contribute to their DAF for year-end tax purposes, but delay giving. Don't wait. Your gift will change lives. Well, it's going to go in Rob Parsons' pocket, I can tell you. Or, of course, you can give cash gifts. Please consider the impact your year-end giving can make. And remember, whoever sows generously will also reap generously. And he goes on to give the contact information for Brian Ferris, who handles all of the high donors and has been a Rod Parsley sycophant along with his wife, Lori, for many a year. And they just continue to fleece the flock. So nothing says faith like liquidating your 401k or IRA for a televangelist next miracle campaign. So get right on that if that was compelling to you to give to them. And it's proof of what's always been true at World Harvest. Your worth is measured in zeros, not in souls. The poor get ignored, the loyal get used, and the wealthy get groomed for the next seed faith investment. You're only as holy as your bank balance and only as valuable as your wire transfer. If Jesus flipped tables over money changers, what do you think he'd do to pastors selling salvation through IRAs? The modern church turned Calvary into a crowdfunding campaign. It's not the Great Commission anymore. It's the Great Commission check. Luke 12:15, which we're actually going to read 12:13 through 12:21. Let me just pull this. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." And he told them this parable: the ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God." So, from the homeless student, Chad, on a Valor couch to the millionaire writing checks from his retirement fund, the story is the same. Compassion is conditional at World Harvest Church. Loyalty is exploited at World Harvest Church, and money is king. World Harvest isn't building the kingdom, they're franchising it. They'll keep raising money off pain, guilt, and desperation until someone stands up and says enough. Well, enough, Rod. We are exposing the wolves. We are freeing the flock instead of fleecing them, because you cannot feed the man. If you cannot feed the man at the door, stop pretending you are saving the world. And normally I would say thank you for tuning in and watching, which I am going to say that. But I want to say this because I meant to say it last week, and then Joseph and I just went extra long, and so I saved it for this week. So I have prayed and been planning that for the month of November and the month of December, that any monies given towards Mega Maniacs will all go to people in need. And it's not going to be a big production. We're not going to be putting cameras in people's faces and recording it. I want people to feel comfortable that if they need help and they're asking for help, that we can do something to help them, and they do not need to be embarrassed or worry about being exploited or any of those things. I will keep a record if anybody would like to see that, for transparency reasons. But we have people, like I said, in the Mega Maniacs family. We have people that have been or are still affiliated with World Harvest Church and Valor Christian College that are in need. And I want to do whatever we can to help these people. Chad clearly is in need. Someone, I believe it was Lee, said or asked if he had a GoFundMe. I do not believe he has a GoFundMe, but if you send money, you can put Chad in the comments section. You can put something else in the comic section if you want to give, but it doesn't necessarily have to be to Chad. It can be to another family in need, because there are several families that I am speaking to right now that have a real need, and I want to be able to help them. And I hope that you guys do too, because it's not just about this time of year. It's about always having a spirit of gratitude and of humility. And I've been in these positions, not necessarily homeless, but I've been in bad situations, and I know many of you have also had these same struggles. And I don't think that it's right, even if someone does not agree with me or like me or any of those things. If we know that they need help, then we should help them, and I feel compelled to do that. So please know that if you give this month or next month, and maybe we'll just continue it on, that it will be going to families that do in fact have needs. And if any of you are in need, please feel free to send me an email. It's megamaniacs777@gmail.com. It will be completely confidential. You will not be embarrassed or exploited. We just need to know who needs help. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And I'll see you next week for a new episode of Mega Maniacs. Have a good night.